This tiny little bump out at the back of my 1857 Philadelphia row home measures only 6 square feet, and it took a remarkable effort to maintain this square footage and not just get rid of it. Let me explain. When I first bought the house, this seemed to be a later addition, and it was a little bump out where the fridge was situated to make the kitchen slightly more functional. Originally, I wanted to just keep this feature as is, but as soon as I started some light demolition to prepare the area for drywall, I realized that would not be possible. Man, once you start ripping apart, it's like a termite's paradise. Water gets in through the roof and through the stucco. It's all wet, and there's like 2 layers of drywall, layer of wood, another layer of wood, several layers of siding. It's no good. Next, we need to deal with this wood lintel supporting the brick, which is termite damaged and visually sagging, and that starts with a little bit of masonry. With the support for this new steel lintel in, we can remove the old and install the new. Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the brickwork is all finished. Now you might be asking yourself, why would I go through all this for just 6 measly square feet? Well, it's a small house with a small kitchen with counter space just on one wall. I want to keep this main counter as clear as possible, so it's a great opportunity to make a little coffee nook with this 6 square feet available. All this work just for coffee, who could blame me? Now let's pour some concrete. It's about time I started to think about doing a little rebar here. I'm the GC for my own home renovation project, and I've worked with great subs to get the rest of the house built. The work for this bump out wasn't included in the original scope, so I'd have to pay the subs more to do it, but I thought it was a great opportunity to do this work myself, as it's a tiny project, but it includes almost everything from masonry, concrete, framing, sheathing, siding, roof, you name it. So with that done, the flashing is complete and we're ready to start on siding. Behind this mess of materials is one of the few walls that we didn't have to drywall because eventually it'll be exposed brick or maybe this exposed kind of rugged plaster. So it became the best area to store all this stuff while the drywallers were finishing up the mudding process. And if we dig back here a little bit, in addition to this whole mess of old lumber that I've saved, and hopefully we'll find something cool to do with, there's also a lot of offcuts of hardy board siding material. And this was all in the trash from when the siding guys did the rest of the house. And I knew I wanted to keep it because these small little pieces will be perfect for this little bump out. And actually pretty much all the materials I've used to build this have been salvaged. For one, the bricks I used were reclaimed from other parts of the house. I did have to buy the steel lintel. Of course, I bought the wood to frame it, but the house wrap, the siding, the roof paper, all of that was just left over from other jobs, greatly reducing the cost to do this. And me doing the siding work myself basically makes it free. As many of you know, my background is in architecture, and many architects around the world have set a goal to achieve net zero carbon emissions in the built environment, which accounts for 40% of total carbon emissions. Sustainable energies like solar and wind have come a long way, but they're only as good as the battery systems we have to store that energy. And that's why I'm very interested in the sponsor of today's video, BLUETTI. This is the Apex 300. Alone, it's quite impressive with 120 and 240 volt outputs and 2.76 kilowatt hours of capacity. To put that into perspective, you could charge your phone over 150 times from this battery. Earlier this year, my house didn't have power, so I wasn't able to run a dehumidifier in my basement. And we have a problem, a mold problem. Now that I have a unit like the Apex 300, I'll never have a problem like this again because I can have power wherever I need it. Pairing the Apex 300 with their Hub D1 gives you 700 watts of DC output, which is perfect for charging your portable electronics like your laptop and phone. Their system is complete with this trolley, which keeps your batteries portable and creates a base for future expansion. This unit alone can serve as a partial home backup to keep critical systems like your refrigerator, your router, and some lights all online if there's a power outage. And it can also be used as energy storage for systems like home solar. I think the most exciting thing about the system BLUETTI has developed is that you can actually link several of these Apex 300 units together and add additional B300K units to achieve a massive 58 kilowatt hours. This is enough to power every single system in my house for a couple days, and if I just wanted to power the critical systems, it could potentially last a couple weeks. The flexibility of this system means that it can solve a whole lot of problems, from full home backup, powering an RV, or even providing portable power for a photo or video shoot. Until September 25th, you can get up to 53% off BLUETTI products, and until September 30th, you can use code CHRIS300 to get 10% off your Apex 300 unit. Thanks again to BLUETTI for sponsoring this week's video. This is a fiber cement product, so you do need a special blade, not just a wood blade, which I don't really have. So I'm going to use my angle grinder that has a masonry blade on it. Fiber cement, cement is kind of masonry. I don't know, I think it'll be fine. I can already foresee that trying to hold this in place and nail it is gonna be near impossible. Hand nailing is something else, I'll tell you. It's more or less where it needs to be. I'll take it. A learning process, and I got the top nails in but I couldn't really check what the condition was down here before I nailed it, and now it's a little long. Oops. I really don't want to have to take these nails out and might damage the board, so instead I'm going to do something that probably isn't great, but will get the job done, and I'm just going to try to trim this in place. All this edge siding is now complete, and it's not great, and I'm learning as I go. Let me show you the defects. Just to start, because this is all salvaged material that's been laying around, there's plenty of damage to it even before I put it up, so that is what it is. Next, I learned I can't put the nails too close. You can see these little stress fractures. I hope they don't get worse. I mean, maybe in the heat of the summer with thermal expansion, these will crack even more. Let's hope not. Also on this one, when I was nailing these in, the surface wasn't flat, so I snapped it a little bit. You can see the stress cracks here and around those nails. And unfortunately, I actually don't have any more. I had just enough siding to be able to do that, so I just got to live with it. Next up, you can see the angle of the drip edge is not matching the angle of the siding. Also, this condition over here is not great, having like this seam where water can get in, so I'm relying on sealant there, and I'm gonna need to like paint and seal the exposed ends there, and of course I need a fascia piece here. I think if this was like siding 101 at university, I'd probably get like a C. Not great, but hey, it's my first time. To get started here with the lap siding, the first step is adding a starter strip, which you just cut down from existing. I looked online, it's like 1.25 inches. Also, I realized I had to pre-drill these because it's so thin and these nails are probably too thick. This doesn't actually need to be continuous, and it might actually be better that it's not, because any water that gets behind the siding gets out past this starter strip. Got my piece cut and some holes pre-drilled, something like this. One nail in. And one note on this part of the process, you are supposed to leave a little gap on either side for thermal expansion, and then you caulk that later. It's right about where it wants to be. Making great progress on this siding job. I was able to do all this side as well as the other side with all just offcuts that I saved from the trash. Love that. So on top of just offcuts, I saved a whole lot of these full 12-foot lengths of hardy board. I haven't counted them. I think I have like 10, 15 of these, which I'm gonna have a lot left still, and I think I wanna do something on this back fence at some later date. But for now, we got to use maybe 2 or 3 of these, cut them into 4-foot sections, and wrap this up. So I started to do the fascia and I had it cut, but this piece was a mess. And honestly, I think I've gotten a lot better with the siding in this little time that I've worked on it. It was just an unlevel surface because framing underneath was a little weird. There were things sticking out and I didn't bother to clean it up before I put the siding on. And then the siding was all angled. So I had the decision of, do I want to angle the edge of my fascia to match that, which is just like doubling down on a bad condition, or do I want to redo it? So I took this piece out, I took the drip edge off, retaped some stuff, and I recut my piece much nicer. And it's still a little rocky, so I have a little composite shim to get it sitting right. I think that I'm going to be glad that I did this. I want to give you a closer look at this fascia situation. I thought I could get away with it, but it's real funky. I really don't like how it's coming out. The gap's bigger there, smaller there. And I was really just trying to avoid cutting this down, and I thought it might work, but I'm not super happy with that. So I think I'm gonna cut off a good bit. I'm gonna keep this finished edge on the bottom. I'll cut the top, probably just lap this down by like a 1/4 inch or so, just to give it a more polished look. By the way, for the cut ends, I need to paint that to match this, which helps weather sealing, and I'm gonna seal all the little gaps. But all in all, I'm actually pretty pleased with the siding job in general. I definitely have just made a lot of improvements, cleaning up my earlier mistakes, and I think it'll look pretty good once we resolve this. Now the question, can I get this off without damaging my cut piece here? Oh, yeah, it broke. So I got all the drip edge situated up here. The next task, it's just hard to film. I got started. I need to basically just dig some mortar out here so I can get a piece of flashing up and into the brick and then seal that, you know, of course, so no water's getting back behind the roof. I've mentioned it a couple times now, but there's something about this little bump out that makes me really happy because it's the first thing that I've built alone, start to finish, basically. And it's really cool just to know that I've acquired all these skills where theoretically I could maybe build a whole house apart from all the mechanical systems, and I think that's pretty cool. Good news, I got some caulk. After about an hour and 2 tubes of caulk, not only did we fill every crack and nail hole and joint in our siding, but I was also able to seal my hands, my legs, my shorts, my ladder, my chair, pretty much everything in the vicinity. I figure I might as well continue with the messy jobs. So I'm gonna finish up the spray foam around the windows, and they make a special spray foam for this that's low expanding, that's important because you don't want to warp your window frame or else your windows won't open. Just a couple steps, gotta brush it off, clean it up so the foam adheres, and cut these little shims. It's been a little while since we checked in with the interior of the house, and that's just because for the past week and a half or so, the drywall crew was finishing up the long process of mudding and sanding the drywall, and now it's basically ready for paint It's super exciting to be diving into this next phase of the project where I get to actually see my vision for the space and all my renderings really come to life. If you've made it to the end of the video, just make sure you're subscribed and like the video if you've been enjoying the project. As always, thanks for joining me on this journey.